Hi guys, it's Julie from Calm Belly Kitchen. Today I'm continuing with our frequently asked questions series, and I'm answering a kind of a two-part question. And this is one that I get asked a lot personally, and I see people asking it in Facebook groups all the time. And that is, how long does the elimination phase take? Or some people will ask, how long does it take before I'm symptom-free? So I'm going to try to answer that question now, and that's just the first part. Okay, so the elimination phase takes as long as it takes you. There's no one set limit or thing that it should be. But anecdotally, what I hear is that for most people, it takes 2 to 4 weeks. People say sometimes they seem to see changes faster when they have IBS-D, so diarrhea. Those symptoms will go away more quickly than if it's an IBS-C, constipation symptoms. So that's a factor that depends. Now, let's say you are doing it for 2, 3, 4 weeks and you don't know if it's working, you're not seeing any changes. There could be a few reasons for that, and it's not that you're doing something wrong, but here are some possible problems, okay? So maybe you're overlooking certain high FODMAP foods. You should be using the Monash app. I think that's the best way to check foods and serving sizes. So using that can really help. I still use mine all the time. So that's a factor. Now, I always say that one slip up or one restaurant meal doesn't ruin everything, but when you're just starting in with the elimination phase, you have to really try to eliminate as much as possible, because you want to be able to find out if your symptoms actually calm down due to getting those FODMAPs out of your diet. So if every 3 or 4 days you're, indulging in a big meal, or you're going out, or you're having something, you're eating cake for dinner, whatever it is, then you're never going to give your body a chance to live without the FODMAPs and see if it actually helps your symptoms. And that's really the goal of the elimination phase, to find out if reducing FODMAPs, going low FODMAP, actually helps you. And if it does, that's proof that FODMAPs are the problem, that eating too many FODMAPs is what causes those digestive symptoms. And from there, you start the reintroduction phase. Okay, but that's another story. So another reason that it might take you longer for the elimination process is that the FODMAP diet is really complicated, okay? So this is something else I say all the time, and I know it from my own experience. It took me a couple tries to start with the elimination phase and get it right, because you're kind of learning as you go, and there's a lot to learn. And completely changing the way you eat and the way you cook is a big deal. It doesn't just happen overnight, and a lot of people need to slowly do it and slowly learn and find those go-to meals and learn how to adapt their recipes and their cooking style and just kind of get into the groove. So if it takes you 8 weeks instead of 4 weeks to from the very start to get into the groove, to do the elimination and to see changes, there's nothing wrong with that. So the short answer is that the amount of time it takes definitely varies. Now, if you are convinced that you've done the elimination for a good 4 weeks and nothing is happening, you're not seeing any changes, then you might have an issue that's not related to FODMAPs. And that's why we do this elimination process, to find out if FODMAPs really do trigger your symptoms. All right, on to the second part of the question, and that is, people ask, things seem to be getting worse on the elimination phase. Is that possible? What could be the problem? And a lot of things could be the problem. There could be stress, for one. You're kind of stressed about, are you eating the right things? Are you eating too much or too little? It could be that you're still kind of a little messed up on what to eat, and maybe you're eating something every day that's sort of triggering your symptoms, or maybe you drink a diet soda every day, and while that doesn't have FODMAPs, it's still gonna make you bloated and kind of interrupt your system. Okay, so there are all these little factors like that, but a lot of people ask about fiber, and sometimes when you go on the elimination phase, you're eating really healthy and you could be getting too much fiber. And if you start getting too much fiber at once, it has the opposite effect that it should. Your body just sort of can't handle it. It gets overwhelmed, and your constipation could get worse, or your diarrhea could get worse, whatever it may be. So when you are making changes, kind of be conscious of what you're doing and go slowly. And if you think you are getting a little too much fiber, maybe try to keep an eye on that and see if that might be the issue that could be making it worse. Otherwise, it's an individual case-by-case basis. If you really think it's getting worse, you should talk to the doctor who recommended the diet, whoever is advising you. Try to get some advice and keep a food journal. Try to see if there's any patterns. And eventually you should learn and figure it out, and it might take time, but in the end it will be worth it, okay? So I hope that answered that question pretty thoroughly. I think I chatted for a while there. So thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.